Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. I did say on the earlier show that we could well get some breaking news around the goalkeeper today, and we have, but it's not Onana, it's David De Gea. David De Gea has announced that he is leaving Manchester United, and we can show you the direct quote from this. This is from Fabrizio Romero, who's tweeted it out. I'd like to express my unwavering gratitude and appreciation for 12 years, for the love from the last 12 years. I took incredible pride every time I pulled down this shirt, the biggest club in the world. Manchester will always be in my heart. And David De Gea says goodbye to Manchester United. And that stings. That does sting, I've got to say, because when I look at those words and it says, I took incredible pride every time I pulled on the shirt, and Manchester will always be in my heart. This is something I've been resisting, with some of you great people in the chats and with many people online. He is a class act, Owen, and I think he's always been a class act. And I always refuted and fought against those who had a go at him because he cares. He actually cares about Manchester United. He is proud to have wore that shirt, and there's no doubt that the game has moved on, and we're going to see a very different style of football now. But I think the disrespect, I think Neville and co, Keane, I was disappointed with them. I was disappointed with BT and Sky, the way they always went in on him. I think some of our fans let themselves down as well. There's a way of doing it. And people will go, wow, you say it about Maguire. What's Harry Maguire done in a Manchester United shirt? What's Jadon Sancho done in a Man United? What's Anthony Martial done in a Man United shirt? Comparable to that. And, when Rooney left, I wanted him to go. But it wasn't about being disrespectful. He was a legend and he is a legend. And I just think that, I'm glad he's gone now because I think that it was getting silly. I think some of the hysteria around David De Gea was getting silly. It had gone beyond, we need a goalkeeper that can pass out from the back and, sweep and everything like that, which we do. And it had become very personal and just, I suppose I always call it a little bit Real Madrid-y, when they start booing Casillas and they boo Ronaldo. I just don't think you should do that. I don't think you should treat your greats like that. So I'm glad he's gone. I'm glad he's put the message out and we can move on to a new era. And it will be a very different era. 12 years at this football club. How many, well, he won a title, but how many awards did he win? Golden Gloves, probably not as many trophies as he should have done. But David De Gea leaves Manchester United. And I think, let's get a like on the video. Let's get some good comments in the video, because I think that the thing that I have a sigh of relief, really, and put your comments in. A sigh of relief, because we know we're going to buy Onana, and he never should have been staying as the reserve goalkeeper for many reasons. One, he doesn't deserve to be the reserve goalkeeper at Manchester United after 12 years. Two, the financials would have been ridiculous. Legend, says Daniel, people can criticise him all they want, but when a United legend leaves the club, the least you could do is show some respect, says Mario. We'll never forget when the Madrid move collapsed, he stuck by us and signed the new deal and kept us relevant for so many years, says the Beast. I think that's a line I've heard a lot of people say, and it's very, very true. He kept us relevant in some very turgid years. I mean, especially the Van Gaal era. I think that's when he predominantly was winning Player of the Year, and we were really bad. Like, we could have been in the bottom half of the table at times, and he kept us relevant. He kept us in games. I remember one against Everton at home. He was bloody amazing, and we somehow managed to keep a clean sheet. Arsenal away at the Emirates will always be the standout game for me, because it was one of the few games I didn't do a watch along on. I think I was in Centre Parks or something. And he was just bloody, I just got to watch it without looking at a live chat, having a beer. I was watching it and I just was like, that is unbelievable. I love him. Sad to see him go. Club legend. Thank you, David, says Daniel. What a keeper. It's been a joy watching him over the past decade, says Brandon. True legend of the club. After 13 years, his treatment to go has been appalling. Very sad but relieving day. Well, I want to talk about that from Slow Sports News. Do you think the club have handled it well? So sad to see some of our fan base turn into Madrid fans right in front of our eyes, says Sifu. Look, I don't even care about people wanting him to go and wanting a different style of goalkeeper. You're right. You're right, and you've won. But it's the treatment. It's just not been good. I don't think the club have come out of it particularly well. I want to talk about that in a minute, but let's focus on the positives. Any update on the sale, says Abraham, not talking about that. Very sad to see him go, says Harry. He's always been professional, no drama, no controversy. He got the United mentality. The way he's been let go is disappointing, says Niall. I think in the same theme of a Juan Mata, and there's a few players that have been like this. Maybe it's a foreign thing, I don't know. Bruno's like it as well. There's no drama. There's no drama at all. I'm a professional for Manchester United Football Club. I'm here to do a job. I will do that job. I will be professional. That's what I will do. The only thing that David De Gea has ever been criticised for is, some of his performances, some of the ways that he's done. He's never been a problem. All right, there was that move to Real Madrid, and nobody can knock him for that. But he's been an incredible servant to this football club. 100% deserves his place as a legend. More clean sheets than any goalkeeper in Man United's history as well. That's not to be frowned upon. Didn't win anywhere near as much as he deserved. I'm old enough to have seen the treble winning side, the 08 side. Van der Sar, obviously he's in our thoughts at the moment. Hopefully Edwin can pull through. Apparently he's stable but very ill. Peter Schmeichel. David De Gea really is the third goalkeeper of my lifetime that, has been, generational in a sense. For some years, I think he was the best in the world, but certainly an elite goalkeeper, the same as Van der Sar and Schmeichel. The only thing that was lacking with David De Gea was that he didn't get what Van der Sar and Schmeichel got, which is a team outfield to match his quality in goal. And yeah, that's waned in recent years. Certainly, I think since the Solskjaer era, Dave's dropped off a bit. We know that. He could even take it back as far as it started a little bit with Mourinho, but definitely under Solskjaer, it started to fall away. And when you bring a goalkeeper in like Erik ten Hag, I mentioned it on the video I've just done with Højlund. David De Gea, 32 times defensive actions outside his box last season. Alisson's doing it in the 90s. That you need a goalkeeper in the modern day that can do that, and Dave was never going to be able to do that. So look, I think the parting of the ways was right. We've got some Ten Hag quotes to come in. Apparently, I'm just trying to, if someone can point me in the direction of those, I'd like to read those out. But I just think what a legend, what a servant to the club through very, very difficult times. And we have got a comment from Ten Hag here. He says, to have won Player of the Year awards from both the fans and his teammates on 4 occasions shows the level of his performance. And he will always be remembered as one of the very best goalkeepers in the history of this football club. It takes great quality and character to reach the level of even playing one game for Manchester United. To do it 545 times over 12 years is a special achievement, particularly in the goalkeeping position where every game puts you into the spotlight. And that is from our manager, Erik ten Hag. So some nice words from Erik ten Hag there. How do you know? Sorry, what was that? Good luck, Dave. We miss you. Great statement by him, says Ray. I just hope the new goalkeeper does it better, says Uber. That's always the challenge at United. That's always the challenge. Greatest United keeper. The disrespect he got was silly. Kept his relevance as AZ. I think I'd read that one. Hasha says, Ten Hag is the way forward. However, this is the second time he's disrespected a club legend. Ronaldo and now David De Gea should be handled differently. They deserve it, says Hasha. Well, they're nice words from Ten Hag. Walid, welcome to the Members Club. Remy's gifted a membership. I know his days were numbered, but this is to be one of the most painful departures from the club. He deserved more, and I can't thank him enough, says Patrick. Well, smash a like on the video for David De Gea. I think he deserves it. I think he's been and don't start thinking about the bloody goal that went in against the FA Cup, or the amount of times he booted it out for a throw when the ball went back to him. We're talking about a 12-year career here. We're talking about the best of David De Gea. That's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about the end. We're talking about the journey. And the journey's what it's all about. And I remember him coming over from Spain, and a lot of people gave him stick then. The funny thing about David De Gea's career, if I could just put it in a couple of sentences, because I've seen it, his career ended in the way it started. He came over as a foreign goalkeeper that the media instantly attacked. He's weak. He's no good on crosses. He's not good enough for the English game. And he shut them up, and for years and years made us relevant and played fantastically well. And then they went for him again because the modern goalkeeper he wasn't, and they ridiculed him again. And that was the sort of the story of David De Gea. He started off being ridiculed by the press, and he ended up being ridiculed by the press. But in between it, the vast majority of his career was fantastic, world class, and some of the saves he's made, just an out and out goalkeeper, and they don't really exist anymore. And I don't think we'll see goalkeepers like David De Gea again. Much the same as Peter Schmeichel. I mean, Peter Schmeichel with his feet was like, terrible, absolutely terrible. But things move on. The evolution of goalkeeping is Alisson. He is the best in the world, in my opinion. And Arne falls into that category of that type of goalkeeper. All the best to a legend, the last of Fergie's players, end of an era, time to make new history, says FIFA Crazy. And let me just get rid of Daniel. There we go. Hide user on the channel. You're gone, Daniel. You dick. You're not even relevant. Like, that was a joke last night. We've done 3 videos since then. Malp says Alisson's the best in the world. No chance. In my opinion, I think he is. Yeah, I do. I think he is. I think he's absolutely fantastic. Sergey, you're gone as well. Got any mods just to get rid of these dickheads in the chat? It's not even anti-De Gea stuff, it's just idiots. Callum says, end of an era, will forever be grateful for all he's done for us and wish him all the best for the future. Thank you very much, Callum. The Daily Mail are saying that Man United set to sign Andre Onana as David De Gea's replacement next week. Slow sports news. Yeah, I don't think we need an update that we're going to sign Andre Onana. I mean, I think that's the whole point, that why David De Gea is leaving, isn't it? But I'm personally grateful for the 25 clean sheets he helped provide last season and his overall contribution on the pitch during my first year at the club. All the players and staff send him our very best wishes for the next phase of his outstanding career. You know what? It's really interesting, isn't it, that Ten Hag is having to send him his best wishes because he didn't get to do it face to face. And I think that's where United failed here. I want to focus on the fact that it's time to change. There's nothing wrong with change. You have to embrace change. It's a new world, and you know, Ten Hag wants to do it. But I think where they've fallen down here is that Ten Hag's putting a statement out saying we send our best wishes. He's been at the club 12 years. Where was the face-to-face? Why didn't this happen at the end of last season? And I think where United need to take a long look at themselves is this should have been handled better. And look, Mark Ogden was on the channel last week and said Cantona didn't get a send-off. You know, Evra didn't get a send-off. I don't think Rio got a send-off. You don't have to get a send-off. But I think in this case, we missed the boat. We dropped the ball. David De Gea went on holiday with a contract on the table. He came back, we're signing an Onana. I know things can move quickly, but with this has been played out publicly. He has been humiliated publicly. Everyone going after an Onana, what's happening with De Gea. Realistically, why didn't we know about this? And again, it comes down to the ownership, it comes down to the Glazers, it comes down to the sale, it comes down to the lack of clear leadership. We were going to go for Kane, we were going to go for Kim Min-jae, we were going to go for Rabiot and Mount, and De Gea was going to stay. We messed up Kane, we missed Kim Min-jae, and we changed our plans. And by changing our plans, we basically just screwed over a player that's been here for 12 years that thought he was going to be staying for another year, and has ultimately left at the end of the season, shaking hands with his teammates that he thinks he's going to be back with, and basically probably had a phone call or a text message saying it's not going to happen. It's ruthless. It's ruthless. And some people would say that's exactly what you've said this football club needs to be, and it does. We do need to be ruthless. But ruthless behaviour in chaos is still chaotic. Ruthless behaviour, for me, is kicking Maguire out. It's kicking McTominay out. It's kicking Martial out. You know, Sancho potentially. You know, not that I would get rid of all those players. I'm just saying, if you're going to be ruthless, be organised and ruthless. And I think it's just an odd one the way this has happened. It's the right decision. There's no way, if you're signing an Onana, that David De Gea should be staying as a reserve goalkeeper. Absolutely not. But I think the way that we've handled this, especially when you've got certain people writing articles and putting tweets out about what a great job John Murtaugh's doing, well, is this not on his watch? I mean, what will we ever get the truth of what happened here and why it happened? I don't see a way out for United. What are they going to say? Well, we offered him a contract and he decided he didn't want to be the reserve goalkeeper. So you actually offered him a contract of 150k to be a reserve goalkeeper? Are you completely stupid? I think they could have handled it better. But you can dwell on that, or you can look at the good and you can look at the positives. The positives are that we will have a goalkeeper next season that the vast majority of you wanted, which is a ball-playing goalkeeper, and it will be an Onana, and that is a step forward. And the other positive is that David De Gea does leave this football club as a legend of it, who has served, respected, and been a great servant to it for 12 years, and his career will stand the test of time. There probably won't be a goalkeeper that breaks his clean sheet record any time in our lifetime, because to do that, they're going to have to be here for 12 years and they're going to have to get a lot of clean sheets. So David De Gea will go down in the history of this football club, and that's what his legacy will be. So for those who don't respect him, his record's probably going to outlive you. It's especially in the modern game, it's hard to envisage It's hard to envisage Rooney's goal record being broken either, bringing Rooney back into it. It's hard to envisage David De Gea's clean sheet record being broken as well. I feel sick seeing this unfold, to watch yet another legend be treated so poorly. Simon, thank you very much for that. I would have been 10 times excited for the Onana signing if David had got his farewell, says Dipak. Yeah, I think they could have handled it. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. They could have handled it so much better. I think we could have... if United want feedback, you're exactly right. De Gea should have been leaving at the end of the season after the FA Cup final, and then thank you very much, goodbye, and then respectfully move on. And I don't know why they didn't do that, but I do know why they didn't do that, because the summer's chaotic. Again, it's chaotic and it's all over the place, and they're running around trying to do stuff, not thinking about, how it looks, how it's perceived. Do you think we'll sign Suzuki as another second goalkeeper? Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because Dean Henderson's probably not going to want to be reserve goalkeeper to Onana. So, yeah, I'd say it's all change. Where do you think De Gea's going to go now, says Bush? I'd go Saudi Arabia, mate. I'd go Saudi Arabia. He's been on 375 grand. And I will concede his wage is ridiculous. Like, he never should have been on that. But he can go and get that in Saudi Arabia. He played in the wrong era. If he'd joined the club in the 90s or the 2000s, he would have been one of the greatest goalkeepers in history, like Buffon, Schmeichel and Neuer. Thanks for a decade of highlights, says Jack. No gratitude for a guy who did his job, albeit with mistakes, while we gave a send-off for Phil Jones, says Kevin. Peter was excellent with his feet for that era. He joined on Rondos in the 90s when goalkeepers were meant to stay with goalkeepers. You don't understand goalkeeping, says Doe. Doe, go and start your own channel. When you've got 17,000 people watching and 1.6 million people, I'll give you, we'll have a debate. But I understand goalkeeping absolutely fine. Peter Schmeichel was not good with his feet. You put Peter Schmeichel, prime goalkeeper, in goal now, he'd be ridiculed. The game's moved on. I do understand goalkeeping. I understand it a lot. And also, Peter Schmeichel played a lot of his career with the back pass. Goalkeeping revolutionised. I'll tell you how much I understand goalkeeping. Goalkeeping was revolutionised with the removal of the back pass, because goalkeepers had to start using their feet. Peter Schmeichel won the Euros for Denmark the year the back pass rule was taken out. So a lot of his career was formative without even having to play with his feet. He wasn't good with his feet. Rudy, welcome to the Members Club. I remember when our fans pointed to Casillas' treatment at Real at the back end of his career in a bid to make Dave stay. Grateful I watched the career of a United legend. History will remember fondly, says Alejandro. Why didn't he get a testimonial? If anyone deserved... I don't think testimonials happen anymore, Tired Guy. I think they're a thing of the past. We can't sign a Scandinavian Igalo. He's not worth 20 million, let alone 50 million. Stop hyping up the fan base, says Darren. I don't know what you're talking about. Makes me sad that he had to give his farewell via Instagram and not at Old Trafford, says Kevin. I literally shed a tear when I saw his post because he's been my goalkeeper since I started following United, says Suprit. You were saying how United needed to sign players with strong mentality. Does signing Onana show a change in their recruitment, says Daniel? Well, that's the next thing, isn't it? That's the next thing. Interesting. I think that... you know what? I think it's so interesting. Bruno said, you deserve to say goodbye at the stadium with all the fans cheering you for all the beautiful memories. I'm just going to quote tweet that. Bruno's not happy either then, is he? I mean, that's interesting. I mean, that's so interesting from Bruno Fernandes. He's put it on his Instagram. You deserve to say goodbye at the stadium with all the fans cheering you for all the beautiful memories. I mean, that's from Bruno Fernandes. Absolutely risky, but right. It's just not... I don't... You know what? I know how that dressing room works. They were really pissed off by the Super League. Really pissed off and wanted to come out publicly. They've been pissed off about quite a few things. And I think there'll be a few people in that dressing room who are pissed off. Because you're in it together. You're a team. You know, what they achieved last year was beyond what people thought. They won a trophy. They came third. They had the most clean sheets. Defensively, we played well. They're a team. You know, remember the back five, high fives, you know, and all that. Martinez, Varane, De Gea, Dalot, Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw. They were a team. And when somebody gets treated badly, you look at it and you go, well, that could be me next. That could be me next. That shouldn't happen. So it's great that Bruno's done that, and that shows loyalty. That shows leadership. Onana is a cheat, and nobody's mentioning this. Can't play out from your feet when you're banned again, says GW. I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, big shout out for Bruno there. But the interesting thing is going to be now, and you're going to get a bit of a history lesson. When Peter Schmeichel left, it was a nightmare. It was a bloody nightmare for years until Van der Sar came in. And what year was that? Was that 6, 7 years later? So United, this has got to go well. I'm not saying now's the wrong time to change it. I think it probably is the right time. Well, it is the right time. They've done it. But you've got to remember that just because you've watched Onana clips, just because I like Onana, just because he was brilliant in the Champions League final, that is a big change for any team. Changing your goalkeeper is big. And I'm not going to predict it. I can't predict it. I hope it's going to go well. But for those of you who can't remember anything other than David De Gea, and for those of you who are probably a lot younger than me, who've got no grasp of what happened when Schmeichel left, it can be transitional. It could take a year. Even if it goes well for Onana, it could take a while. It could work from day one because he's worked with Ten Hag before. But it's got to work. It has to work because it's a big move. And I think it's the right move because Ten Hag's made it, and I'll back the manager. But, I've said it. I've been saying it all season. Changing the goalkeeper at Manchester United, you've got to go for a big character. And Onana is a big character, and he's very charismatic. It's funny, I saw a clip today of just a compilation of mistakes by Onana, most of which look like they're at least 5 years old. But look, every goalkeeper can make a mistake. We've got to get behind the new goalkeeper. We've had our say on the De Gea situation. What a tenure at Manchester United it's been. Clearly, there's people in the dressing room like yourselves who are not happy with the way he's been treated. But ultimately, United made mistakes, it seems. The decision is made. It's not going to be changed. There is absolutely no way he should have been reserve goalkeeper anyway. Why do you think Dave goes from here, says Sebastian? I don't know. I mean, he's a free agent. I think he will probably end up... I think Saudi Arabia makes a lot of sense. FIFA Crazy says, who will be the new scapegoat? Will either be Varane or Casemiro. It's already started on Twitter. Can also see Bruno experiencing this in the future, says FIFA Crazy. Oh, Bruno's already had it, mate. Apparently Bruno wanted to come off, didn't he, against Liverpool at Anfield. Never had an apology for that, you can guarantee there'll be another foreign player that starts getting targeted next season. It's always the way. Football is changing. Onana fits our plans better, but people need to understand what David did for us. He stayed through the bad times and was loyal, says Brandon. And, I would say as well, support your player. Support your new player. Because if you think Onana is going to get the backing of our ex-players and our press and our journalists and our fans just because De Gea's gone, no. If he starts making mistakes, they'll be on him as well. He's too flamboyant. No, he's not good enough. This look at Martinez when Martinez came in. Too small. So back your players, especially your new players. Back your players. Well, actually, I'm telling a lie there. Back a player that is probably going to need time. And you know what? There's a lot to be learned from David De Gea. When David De Gea came in, they went for him. They went for him big time. He's weak. He's not good enough because we're very. I don't know. There's a bit of a weird mentality in this country at times where we think we're better than everybody else, and this foreign goalkeeper coming in and trying to play in our league where he's going to get bombarded with crosses and he's got the build of a long distance runner. He's going to get bounced around like a pinball. We've got to support them. A lot of his fans don't realise we will never have as good a shot-stopper keeper, and that will be a big change, we feel and see. Gutted, says Blake. I think that you'll be surprised with Onana. So Onana is a good shot-stopper. I think it'll be. I don't think that'll be a massive problem, really. I actually think there will be a big improvement in the way that we play out from the back, obviously. I think the attention will move. I think actually now the excuse of the defence and the way that we play out from the back will disappear and more focus will be put on to the things I was talking about at the end of last season Rashford and Antony shooting all the time, Bruno shooting all the time. I think the next stage now is going to be chance creation. We've got the players to get us up the pitch. The next focus will be the front four and how they create chances, how they keep possession. That's where the focus will become next, I think. And obviously Antony, Bruno, Rashford are going to be Mason Mount, and hopefully Højlund will be a big part of that. Chris Wheeler says next week United will announce Onana. I think Chris Wheeler's probably talking about the official announcement. I think we'll get the here we go before that. I think we might even get it this weekend. But yeah, we need to look, that deal needs to follow very, very quickly now. John Murter says David will always be part of the Man United family, and we look forward to welcoming him back at Old Trafford in the future as a legend of the club. Oh, mate, you've dropped the ball. You've absolutely dropped the ball. I wouldn't have said anything. So, oh, John, this is your job, mate. This is on you. We look forward to welcoming him back to Old Trafford in the future as a legend of the club. It's just so wrong. So basically, he's been sacked by WhatsApp, hasn't he? Like, you haven't had your face-to-face. You haven't had him back to Old Trafford. Oh, I just despair at how we've handled it. I mean, it's got nothing to do with, like, replacing him. That's absolutely fine. But, you know, Ten Hag saying, you know, we'd like to send our best wishes to him. John Murter saying he's welcome back. Like, he's clearly left after the end of the season, think he's coming back. And then, I don't know. We need to move on. This club should keep the same energy for players who deserve it, like Maguire, says Yellow Bathing Suit. Legend, always a Red, says Rob. I wanted him to stay, but understand the circumstances and how the game is changing, says Michael McCann. Thank you very much, Michael. And now we don't have a Premier League winner in our squad, says Anthony. And is that the last of the players from the Fergie era now gone, says Joshua? Yeah, I think with Jones and De Gea gone, that's it. But you know what? I think that it's worth saying that for all the people saying this is ruthless and you've got to move on, you're going to look like hypocrites very, very soon, because it's not ruthless. The treatment is ruthless and not right, but there's not a consistency of ruthlessness in this team. You know, Brandon Williams is still training. Harry Maguire's still training. Scott McTominay's still training. Fred's still training. Anthony Martial is still training. Eric Bailly and Alex Tellez. 7 players there. So let's not start pretending that this is a new United with real ruthlessness. I mean, there's 7 players that shouldn't even be at the bloody club that are probably going to go on tour and be training around with a smile on their face. So we're not ruthless. We're not ruthless at all. A scenario presented itself to Manchester United where somebody's contract was expiring and they could basically remove them and bring somebody else in. This is not by design. This is not by, you know, being ruthless. It's something that's presented itself, and it's just typical. You know, I'm not saying the Glazers had a hand in it, but it's just typical of Man United under the Glazers and how they treat players. And funnily enough, it's not the first time in recent years that we've done it with a goalkeeper. We did it with Romero. Romero was treated dreadfully. You know, been a good servant to the club, played in a Europa League final, wanted to go, didn't let him go, and then basically let him rot for a year. So I know a couple of players, and they've said it to me numerous times, the way the fans might dislike the Glazers, but there's a lot of players that don't like them anyway because of, for business reasons, the way they treat people when it comes to renewals, when it comes, you know, traditionally with renewals, they're really slow, you know, because it's all about money. You look at Man City, if De Bruyne's got 2 years left on his deal, they'll get it done 2.5 years before that because it's a good player and they want to keep them happy. At United, they'll let it run down. Look at Marcus Rashford. They've let that run down. He's only got a year left. He's going to get a good pay rise, but he could have had it a year ago. Could have had it 6 months ago. They always do this. They don't treat the players particularly well. Chris, welcome to the members club. But look, overarching above all of this, David De Gea, an absolute legend of this football club, has... Erwin says it's not a charity. Erwin, why don't you use your real name like Joel or Abraham? What are you talking about? Respect is the word. Exactly, Keith. Respect is the word. And look, I said this. What did I say? I think I said this 2 or 3 weeks ago. I know he's going to go. I was intrigued as to how it was going to play out. Obviously, there's been some sort of discussion. I'd love to know what United were offering him, by the way. I'd love to know what they were offering him, because actually, the plot thickens if we were actually going to offer him money to be a reserve goalkeeper. I mean, imagine if we were going to do that. I respect Dave even more if he's turned down 150k a week to be the reserve goalkeeper, because at the end of the day, I'd just love to know how it played out, but that's a different story. Ultimately, he's leaving. It provides us with clarity. It provides us with a clean slate. It provides us with an opportunity to respect and thank David De Gea, and it provides us with an opportunity to move forward with a different goalkeeper who will play the game the way many people feel that we need to play the game. And I'm just grateful it's not Dean Henderson. So there is a positive. The narrative already is that this is a new ruthless United. I've heard people lauding the Mason Mount deal as a new era where we didn't fold on price, says Nick P. Well, the narrative will always come from those people who want to write the narrative. And if those people have got people who will write the narrative for them for a little bit of a you pat my back, I'll pat yours, or scratch, then that narrative will hit the mainstream. And we've seen that already. But I think that, ultimately, we're not ruthless. We're not where we think we should be. We are still owned by the Glazers, and this is still a Glazer summer doing similar things. And when you've got the captain of the club, Bruno Fernandes, clearly frustrated with how they've treated one of his teammates, and the fan base sort of going, what's gone on here? How have you handled it so badly? But then you've got people saying, well, Murtaugh's really ruthless. I mean, as I say, why is Harry Maguire still here? Why is Scott McTominay still here? Why is Jadon Sancho still here? Why is Anthony Martial here? These are players that Ten Hag clearly doesn't rate. Move those on, and then we'll talk. We're not ruthless. We're not ruthless. We're just lucky. Anyway, let's have a quick look if anything else is coming out. I'm surprised by this, but, actually, at least it's a movement. That's an interesting point here. No, it's just somebody talking about the sale, talking about the show this morning, how it's spot on. Oh, I think it is. I think it absolutely is. But you know what? With experience comes experience. I'll try to come out with something more profound there. What I'm trying to say is, when you've been round the block a few times, you get to know the scenery. I can give you a few examples of this, and if it's your first example of it and you're feeling a bit down, this happened with Robin van Persie. We just binned him off and they never even tweeted it. We've done it a few times over my 40 years supporting Manchester United. Ander Herrera was another one quite recently. We have a unfortunately occasionally we have this bad habit of letting these things happen, but sometimes it can be Ronaldo signing for Real Madrid. I was gutted. He literally said the night before the Champions League final in Rome, I'm staying, and then he was gone within a couple of weeks. I was on holiday in Cornwall and my mate text messaged me and said Ronaldo's gone. That was gutting. David Beckham going, that was hard to take as well. So you're always going to get these moments, and my advice would be, remember the good times. It's a life lesson as well. Remember the good times and acknowledge that we're here for a good time, not a long time. I remember being sat in a pub in Malahide, Dublin with my best mate, probably around 2002. And we were talking about Sir Alex and saying, every year we're in a title race. Every year we're nearly winning it. There's going to come a time where he's not in charge anymore. And we've been spoiled. And lo and behold, it's happened in the last 10 years. Sir Alex went and it did stop. Badly, it stopped. So enjoy, look at the good times, cherish them, and it's time to move on now, and hopefully we will have some more good times as well. But it's always, when you have a player that's been at a club for over 10 years and you look back on that time and that journey, of course it's sad. It was sad when Rooney went. I didn't like Rooney the last couple of years. I thought he was spent. But as soon as he retired, you look back to those first few years of Rooney, 2011, absolute elite footballer. And that's what you remember. And I'll always remember the elite times with David De Gea and shove away the disrespected times, because that's not what's going to endure. What will endure is that this football club, as he described, is the greatest football club, and he's a part of that history. So I'm forever indebted to David De Gea. He is a legend of the club, and I want to just say thank you. And I think a lot of people will be saying that as well. And if you haven't had the respect from the actual football club, you'll certainly have it from the real football club, which is the Manchester United football fans, because we're not owned by the Glazers. That's not what Manchester United is, and they can let themselves down, and they can disrespect, and they can get it wrong because they're incompetent. But the fans, in the majority, will not get it wrong, and they will respect. And not every player does get that send off in front of 80,000 fans. He probably should have done. We probably should have done that, but not every player has had it, to be fair. And wherever David De Gea is, I hope he does know that the vast majority of this fan base will always hold him dearly and will always respect and appreciate what he did in a Manchester United shirt. And it's been a fantastic career. And he should be very proud of that. He lived the dream none of us will ever live. And he's been a legend. And let's hope that as David De Gea leaves and somebody else puts that new number 1 shirt on, they can go on to have somewhere near the career that he's had. Because I tell you what, if Onana comes in and gets close to what David De Gea did, we're going to be absolutely fine. Thanks everybody for watching. We will be back at 8 o'clock, of course. And Rudy says, Glazers want to stay. They think we hate David more than them, so they throw him away, says Rudy. Welcome to Members Club CY7 and Talal as well. Take care, everyone. Be back at 8. And let's speak soon. Take care.